Okay, cool. So Brad is asking, hi Damo, I've been gigging for 2 years and still don't think I've been discovered by the right people. Is there a way that I can network better?
Yes. So Brad says, I've been gigging for 2 years and I haven't been discovered. I think that phrase there, before we talk about anything else, is very important. That this crops up a lot. Haven't been discovered. Now, this is 2017. Now, in 1965, that was important. We needed to be discovered. That was the way it worked. And the reason why we needed to be discovered is because the way the music industry worked back then was very different to the way it is now. And the reason why it was different was because technology was different. So in order to hire Abbey Road Studio or Sarn Studio, one of those big studios, it would cost thousands of pounds every single day. And as an artist, you can't afford that. You needed the backing of a label, because not only the recording process was insanely expensive, but on top of that, the manufacturing costs, because you had to make sure that your record was in every HMV, every Hour Price, every Woolworths, every record shop. So you had to physically print. Every single one of them was crazy expensive. So the manufacturing costs would be huge. And then on top of that, how are you going to distribute that and get the advertising out there as well? Huge costs that used to be. So you needed to be discovered. Nowadays, we don't need to be discovered by the music industry. There is no gatekeeper in the music industry. We need to be discovered, and this is the point, we need to be discovered by the audience. So for example, because I'm a musician as such, I'm a bass player and I'm old school and I'm slightly older, I love real guitars, bass, drum type music. So when a band comes along and they're riffy, because I grew up with sort of riffs and heavy stuff, you need me to discover you. Not because I'm in the music industry, but because I'm the guy who's likely to buy that sort of record. So when it comes to being discovered, you're not trying to be discovered by the music industry, because the way you get discovered by the music industry is you get discovered by the audience. The audience grows, and then on top of that, you get discovered by the music industry. The music industry is constantly watching, always. And it's Brad, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you would be surprised, Brad, if you've been gigging for 2 years, there will be lots of people in the music industry that you've no idea who are there, who know who you are, because that's the way the music industry works. The music industry people, despite the fact that there's the funny running joke where someone walks in and always comes up to you and goes, no, I work for a record label. They don't do that, because why would you? It just creates hassle for themselves when they then say no, and it's awkward. But the music industry's job is to watch, is to discover new artists. So I did a podcast a couple of days back, which was great, and the guy was all about new music, and he works for Universal, and he's discovering new music all the time. I guarantee he doesn't go into every gig just announcing himself as from Universal, but he will be watching all of these bands, and then if he likes something, he'll say, come on the podcast. That's what we do. Come on the podcast. And so you've got to get past the discovered, because discovered is not a thing anymore. That's so traditional and so old school that it's like just, the chances of Mr. EMI walking past, hearing something and going, that's what I want, that's exactly what I'm looking for. It's a lottery, and you don't want to play a lottery. You want to actually take the luck away from it, and you want to build the audience. So if you're going to get discovered, you've got to get discovered by the right people, as you said. The right people is the audience. Now, if it comes to networking is very, very easy when all of a sudden you're making your name for yourself. So let me tell you a story. Come with me on a journey back in time. So my history is I owned a very large music college / university, for people who don't know, called the Brighton Institute of Modern Music, which is now the British Institute of Modern Music. I was one of 4 directors, but I owned it. At that time, before I left, the amount of people that would ring up or email on a daily basis asking for things. Can you please come and judge a battle of the bands? Can you please add a radio show? Can you please feature us on the radio show? It was constant, just a barrage of people. And then in 2010, I left the company and I sold it. And I went home to a place called Storrington, where nothing else is.
Where's Storrington?
Exactly. And from that point, everything went. There was no phone calls, there was no emails, there was no texts, there was no offers. They all went because I wasn't in the position where I brought value to people. I didn't bring anything. It was a lonely time. And then I kind of built up a new business, which is the management company. And all of a sudden, people start to sniff around it a little bit, and then it grows, and more people sniff around it. And then I start doing the social media. And now, all of a sudden, people are asking for advice. They're asking for me to get involved in stuff. They're asking for me to do keynotes. They're asking for me to consult with their businesses, with their social media, with their bands. So the best way that you can network is you can bring value to people. And the way that you can bring value as an artist is by, again, going back to building your audience yourself so that your audience starts to grow, because you become a more attractive offer. Because if you have got 10,000 fans as such who love what you do, then the music industry take note. But also then manufacturers take notes, because that's the modern way we advertise. We have to get in front of the right people. Now, if the right people for you, if you're a singer-songwriter with an acoustic guitar, then imagine if you could get in front of Passenger's audience, or imagine if you could get in front of Mumford & Sons audience. Well, you can do that, but you have to pay money to do that, and that's what a lot of people do. So when you've got the audience, people come to you and say, you've got the perfect audience for this new acoustic guitar that I've got. I want to get it in front of 10,000 people. And if I can give you the acoustic guitar to play on a gig, then people will see it and we can advertise it, etc. Well, take that away from just obviously sponsorship with acoustic guitars. It happens with everything. When you go and watch YouTubers, the amount of stuff that's just there, bottles of water or drink, where they just send it through and just go, have some of this, maybe you could feature on our blog. So the audience wins. So you've put how we can be discovered right by the right people, and I feel like you're thinking that the right people are music industry people, and they 100% are not. I'm not saying this is a 50-50 thing. You don't need to do that. You are thinking in an old school way. That is not the way to do it. From here on in, you are going to think of it like this. I couldn't give a fuck what the music industry think. I literally couldn't give a toss what the music industry think of me. However, if the music industry like what I do and they want to come on board, I'm in. But if they don't, I couldn't give a shit, because I'm going to do this with or without them. And when you have that attitude and it starts to grow and you start to look at how you bring value to the audience instead of music industry people, the music industry people will jump on board because they will see what value you're bringing to the audience.
Yeah, it's all like a numbers game these days, isn't it?
So stop thinking you need to get discovered, because discovery is for the Discovery Channel.
It's about the people.